Hey, here I am on my porch, and I thought I would tell you a story. Just a little idea here. Something that's been brewing in my head for a long time. And it's a story that took place 300 years ago in America. This wonderful country that we live in. Well, that I live in, and some of you live in. Anyway, 300 years ago, before it was in America, before we had a revolution, before a lot of stuff that happened, there was in this nation all sorts of people trying to come and start a new world, and all kinds of different people. I mean, you had trappers and you had hunters and you had people who were kicked out of the old world. There were people who tried to start a new life in the new world. Just all sorts. And we're talking the colonies, the 13 original colonies, before they were colonies, before they were part of the nation, way before that. And in the state, the great territory, I guess it would be called, of Massachusetts. And that's one of those words you can't say. Massachusetts, like spaghetti or Pacific or something. For me, it's Massachusetts. So any of you out there who's from Massachusetts can probably say it way better than I can. But anyway, so you got people there. And some people were thought to be witches. And they go into the whole Salem witch trial story. And maybe you've heard of that before. And there was a lot of superstition. A lot of people, there's witches around, there's monsters around, all this stuff. And that environment, that world, what you got there, that's the kind of world that four people come over to this world. Four of them. A mother named Gloriana, a father named Anthony, and their two children, Roland, who is 13, and Annabelle, who is 11. They're kids. Kids in a world where there's no school. Kids in a world where there's no Nintendo, there's no Wii, there's no television, there's none of that. Even toys are different. Even candy is different. Everything's different. And they come to this new world because the dad wants to start something, start a new life. Got an opportunity, and he's going to take it. That's what he's going to do. So I talk with my hands, but you can't see my hands if they're way over there. La, 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 la. So that's, yeah. Anyway, I had a phone call. Yes. So I'm going to have to edit this together. Oh, well. Anyway, so in this new world, this family, the Forsytes, they come to this new world. And they are going to live with their aunt, with Gloriana's sister, Aunt Mabel. And they're going to live there, and they're going to try to start this whole new life. And that's what's supposed to happen. The problem is they never get a chance to. At least the parents don't. Turns out that they come to a land that the property is already owned by someone else. And his name is Dominic Forsyte. Now would be a good time to throw in a picture of that, but I'm not very good at that kind of stuff, so you'll have to wait. Maybe I'll show those to you later. Maybe I'll show them to you later in the vlog, in this video. Yeah. Anyway, so they come and they meet this Dominic Forsyte, and he's a mysterious man. And they meet him in the woods, and basically he sicks wolves on the family, and he himself personally kills the parents, and the kids run for their lives. So, what kind of story are you telling us? Is this some kind of Stephen King type scary thing? It's gonna, God, my children will never read this, never, ever, ever. Well, the thing about it is it's actually not a Stephen King scary thing. It's got scary parts to it, but it's not like blood and gore and goo. It's more of an adventure, because these kids in this situation where they've lost their parents, like Harry Potter's lost his parents, or like Percy Jackson only had a mom and never knew who his dad was, and never really could get close to his dad, still can't. That's the thing. A lot of main characters, they lose their parents and they step up and become somebody better. Hey, look at this. I can see you better this way. Anyway, so parents are dead. Kids are running for their lives. They're rescued by a woman named Eliza Pratchett. And there's one little special thing about Eliza. Now, if I were to say this word, I almost think that a good part of you out there, you roll a giant finger of death, you run away because you're sick of it. Vampires.
Oh, get away from me. I'm tired of vampires. Ballad, Edward, and kissy. Ah.
No. No. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's fine. That's great. Amen, brother. But for me, see me. I like Harry Potter. I like Percy Jackson. I love Percy Jackson. I like Golden Compass. I like Narnia. I like fantasy and adventure. Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. So that's what I kind of like. I don't think I'm looking at the camera half the time. Look, I'm looking at the camera finally. Anyway, that's what I like. And so that's what I write. And this story I'm telling you is about these two kids get rescued by this vampire woman in the middle of colonial America, Massachusetts, so many miles out from Salem. Yes, the Salem during that time, 1892. I have no history. 1692. So, that being the case, 1692, which is entirely different than 1882. 1692, you got the Salem witch trials going on. And in a different town outside of Salem, a town that's not on the maps anymore, but we'll save that for another day, these kids are chased by wolves and are rescued by Eliza Pratchett, but they've already lost a lot of blood and they're dying, and there's no way to save them. Not really. So she can only do one thing to save them. So we have children waking up with sharp teeth and heightened senses, and they can sense these things a mile away. Well, not a mile away, but they can like see better and smell better and taste better. And my grandma, what sharp fangs you have! And these children are vampires, and it's not just the typical vampire that you see in all the TV shows and movies. I mean, it's been going this way since the 70s. We have, I got super strength, and I can run real fast, and I can, um, they can sense really well, heightened senses, and they can, you know what I mean? Well, these kind of abilities. But one thing that they never can do anymore is turn into bats, turn into wolves, turn into mist. These are also things they can do. And of course, mesmerizing people. That's another one they always do nowadays. These abilities, these things, and these children have them now. But you don't just automatically ding, you have these powers, now you know how to handle it. No. Percy had to learn, Harry Potter had to learn. They all have to learn. And that's what these kids had to do. They had to learn. And basically that's what happens. They have to learn their abilities. Well, Eliza Pratchett is Dominic's wife. She doesn't like the fact that he eats people. She doesn't like that. She eats animals. And yes, that's a filling thing. You don't have to have human blood like other people. It's fantasy. You can make up your own rules, and those are the rules I made. So, she can live perfectly fine on animals, but he doesn't want to. And he's evil and mean and all kinds of stuff. So, she doesn't like that, but she's really abusive and passive, so she puts up with it until he's going to kill these kids, and she rescues them, and she finally makes a stand, and what she does is she gets her friends, who happen to be witches, to put up a magical barrier in the sky that is unseen to mortals, that prevents any unclean, wicked, mean thing from getting through. So that means evil vampires, evil werewolves, evil whatever cannot get through the barrier. Okay. But the barrier has limits. It can only handle so much power against it. And Dominic isn't just the run-of-the-mill vampire who likes to snack on a human or two, or 50. No, he is the lord of all monsters. In fact, Dominic is only an alias he uses. He has other aliases. He's had aliases throughout time. In fact, one particular alias, stolen from a famous figure in history, often sticks with him.
He's really Dracula.
So, he's got all these creatures working for him. Werewolves and other vampires and Sasquatches. Yes, Sasquatch and big Sasquatch. And they're working for him. And it's like, what the frick are we going to do? Well, he has all this power. And just in that area, there's a lot more power all around the world, but that's another day, another book. They work against the barrier. And of course, Dominic isn't exactly dumb. He's been around forever and he is really smart about how to handle these things. So he finds ways to get in that barrier, well, to get agents in the barrier to work for him and to lead the kids out and to trick the kids and all sorts of things. And the barrier isn't holding very long. So Eliza has to train Annabelle and Roland to get all the ability they can to learn and adapt to these vampire abilities. You gotta learn how to hunt. You gotta learn how to mesmerize mortals so that you can get away. Not mesmerize them so you can eat them, but mesmerize them so you can get away. You've got, or make them forget that they've seen you. You've got to be able to learn to run real fast, control that. Use your strength, your heightened reflexes. Now I'm thinking about these abilities, sorry. And your senses, and of course the vampire bloodlust. That's a kryptonite. That's one of the many kryptonites here. You gotta control that. You can't be eating people, and you gotta not give in to those cravings. You gotta find a way to counter that. See, in my world, in my universe, in my multiverse, vampires, you don't just suddenly become something and lose your soul and all this blah, blah, blah. No, you're still who you are. You just have to decide how to handle this challenge. So in some ways you can say it's like, oops, I'm suddenly handicapped. Or I've always been handicapped. I've got an addiction I can't stop. I've got abusive parents. I've got abusive bully at school. These are problems. We all have these problems. Every one of us. I've got these problems. We all have these problems. My kids have these problems. Everybody does. My wife does. Everyone does. You have these problems. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I know you do. I'm pointing to the wrong thing, but they do too. And how do we fight them? How do we get the best of them? How do we make a decision on, do we let these problems control us or do we control the problems? That's the point. See? So vampirism, it's so easy to just simply say, bing, with a magical vampire wand, you're suddenly a monster. You have no responsibility. Bullcrap. You have all the responsibility. And you see this in TV shows and you see this in movies. Well, in this regard, these children have this responsibility. They have all these, Stan Lee, with great power comes great responsibility. They have all this power, but they got to have the responsibility to control it. And they've got this urge. They've got to have, like a craving for tobacco or alcohol. They've got to have the responsibility to know, to say no. Some people, I'm not saying this is not a how to quit smoking video, but some people quit smoking. I don't smoke, so I can't exactly tell you how to quit smoking. But some people quit smoking by chewing gum. Okay, whatever works, great. Amen. Okay, they've taken something that doesn't work for them and they've replaced it with something that does. That's a key essential way to help get rid of whatever your addiction is. Okay? And Annabelle, therefore, works out in her head, even though she's 11 years old, she doesn't mean she's stupid, she's smart. She works out in her head how to, I've got this bloodlust for all kinds of blood. What can I do to substitute or calm myself down during these cravings and focus so that she can find an animal to kill? And I'm sorry, I love animals. You see that on my other videos. But somebody's got to die from this. So obviously she's going to be hunting animals. But anyway, Annabelle and Roland are threats in the situation. The barrier is breaking more and more and more, and they have to learn all these abilities. They gotta learn how to change into bats. They gotta learn how to turn to mist. Well, they're not gonna get mist. That's hard. But maybe bats, because then they can fly away. They gotta be able to communicate with animals. They gotta do all these vampire abilities and learn them quick. They've got to be able to learn it before that barrier falls down. It ain't going to be a year. It's going to be a short period of time. And they're going to have to deal with some of these creatures inside the barrier and outside the barrier. And what doesn't help with the fact that the witch friends of Eliza, one of them gets caught in Salem and is locked in the Salem jail and gets put on trial right there in the Salem jail. So we historical figures cameo, and we have to deal with this as Annabelle and Roland have to go rescue them. All kinds of adventure. I love this book. I love this adventure, and the thing about it is you know, I could talk for hours about this, but I'm not going to go ahead and make this video hours long. But one day I'll tell you how this all showed up in here and here and just came out of here and became a book. But the book is called Night Children, Dark Birth. It's on Amazon. It's on BarnesandNobles.com. You can get it for the iBooks, whatever they're called, ebooks, iBooks. Well, it is an ebook. It's an ebook, and it's also paperback, so you can order it either way. And it's all done. It's all ready. It's out there for people. People are getting it. Other people aren't getting it. They need to get it. Get it, please. That's a bad plug. Sorry. But anyway, that's the first story, and there's a lot of story about Annabelle and Roland, because the whole point of the Night Children series is there's 2 points really. One point, the basic point, is you get to see American history and sometimes world history through the perspective of vampire children. No, these are not immortal children that are not supposed to be around. Let's kill them all except for wonderful, cute Renesmee. No, these are not immortal children who feel bad about what their life is and they go crazy nutso and go nuts like Claudia. No, these immortal children are different, and they're not called immortal children. They're vampire children, Annabelle and Roland, and they have to go through adventures and make decisions, like I said, on how to handle things, how to handle these challenges. And it's not going to be easy, because when kids really, really torque off a big, bad monster, then you've got some serious crap coming down the chute. I mean, you're talking not just the monsters available in Dark Birth. We're not going to spend all these books in this series on just some werewolves and vampires and Sasquatches. Sasquatchies. Whatever the plural is for that. No, you're also going to have other monsters in the books. In fact, there's a short story that's also on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all that called Night Children, Dark Threats. And that's kind of a story about how I met Annabelle and Roland. I appeared in the book. But anyway, and it talks about how Annabelle explains some stories from her life. And you get to see some of these monsters, including Mr. Hyde, the Invisible Man. They appear in that book. But there'll be other monsters in this series. I mean, as the monsters... And I think that's one of them right now. Anyway, as the monsters come through, time as time comes through, and things progress in history, some of them will show up, like the Phantom of the Opera, the Mummy, and so on and so forth, Frankenstein's monster. But anyway, I'm excited about this series. I just have so much fun with it, and it just comes out. And so one of the big reasons why I wanted to have a vlog is the same reason why I wanted to have a blog. And that is that I want to share with you all these great ideas and give you some updates on my stories and my novels and where you can find them and all that. And I'm still trying to work out all the kinks on the vlog. Diamond Girl and Butter Boy, they're getting good at this. They spent like almost, I think, the whole summer playing with YouTube and learning about YouTube and making it work for them. I'm just learning this. I'm new. But I'm planning on getting links in there and getting everything going. I'll go back on these videos and add more things and everything. But for the time being, I'm looking at this dog. Come over and eat me. No, don't eat me. But anyway, the neighbor's dog. So that's what I'm going to do. So anyway, for now, I'm going to go get some water because I'm dying of thirst because I talk too much. Water goes in there. And then I'm going to upload some videos, and they'll be uploaded by the time you see this. Well, duh. And I'll make more videos, and I'll do more videos about writing because that's my big passion. I want to do videos. I'll do videos about my action figures. Those are fun, and movies I like and stuff like that. I was even thinking about doing screensaver theater because my screensaver has all these cool pictures. Now that I talk about them or something, I don't know. But for now, I just want to let you know that this is what I'm doing, and I wanted to share it with you. So there you go. And if you're looking for me on YouTube, look for Muse Slave. I'm a slave to my muse because there's thousands of Scott Bryans, and I didn't think that out very well. I actually made the account Muse Slave, but then I hooked it up with my other account, my Google and all this other stuff, and that one's Scott Bryan, and so it became Scott Bryan, and it's frustrating. So anyway, but more on that later. So I guess this is a good time to stop. So bye.